This is the S&P 500 SPDR ETF SPY 1-month overview reading for the month of January 2025. It's currently January 2nd, 2025, 10:38 p.m. Eastern Time. The furthest behind as far as being ahead I've ever been, if that makes any sense. Usually I'm recording these things like over a month in advance, posting them a month in advance. We're like literally doing it the first day of the month. So apologize, guys, for being so behind, but there was unforeseen health issues. And because of that and being so far behind, we're going to be abbreviating much of February, like basically doing the bare minimum on February. That means all of the markup information, but not nearly as many videos. And the SPY dailies, we're going to be taking a break from the SPY dailies throughout the month of February. In other words, there won't be any February dailies. And this will allow us, I apologize, guys, for those of you that follow, but this will allow us to skip forward and get back on track as far as being far enough ahead that we have enough advance notice to plan accordingly, because I don't feel like we do when I'm recording same month. So with that said, if you're new to the channel, we're going to cover the overall theme and direction for SPY throughout the month of January. We're going to talk about any important events that help or hinder that. We're going to talk about chart behavior that we should expect to see at the month's highest high, chart behavior at the month's lowest low. We're going to give you the timing of the highest high and the lowest low to the day, and we'll even go through the sequence of chart events by the day as we foresee the sequence coming to fruition. It's important to understand, especially if you're new, guys, pay attention. The timing is usually right on point, i.e. to the day, but there will be cases where we're wrong, and there will be cases where it's plus or minus a day or two here or there of wiggle room. Really depends on the stock or ticker or crypto that we're covering, in this case SPY. Plus or minus a day here or there, maybe. So you want to be following the sequence of chart events as outlined by the prediction. That is the main point of the prediction, is to give you the sequence of chart events so that in real time you can follow along and see what's transpired and then know what to expect next. And it's really, really powerful stuff. So highly recommend checking out our public Discord. And I'm going to show you guys how to get the early access subscription, which gives you the earliest access to all of our subscriptions and all that stuff at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. We're also going to cover a review of SPY for December and give you the best trades that we see. So all of that stuff, guys, stay tuned for that. And let's get into it. So the overall theme of behavior for January, the Magus cards indicating are like some sort of prime chart behavior taking place that really provides like a significant money-making trade. What does that mean as far as direction? The Magus card can be a little bit difficult as far as overall direction. Often it's because it's mixed. But it looks like probably it's pretty mixed. But on the grand scheme of things, we're probably looking for places to cash out or places to buy in for the next rally to the upside, and we'll look at that in more detail as we progress. Behavior around the highest high for the month of January, we have out of a decline, a big move starting out of that decline that goes all the way from the bottom of a range to the top of a range. We can expect to see that moving into the top of range, i.e. the high for the month. And the behavior around the lowest low, we have a sharp unicursal decline taking place near or at the low, offering significant buy opportunity, opportunity to close shorts, opportunity to open up long positions, which we'll talk about in more detail as we progress through the reading. We also want to be mindful early in the month there's somebody speaking near low, and what they're speaking on should not be trusted or relied upon. So if there's some sort of market, it might have even happened. I wasn't paying attention as far as the news because it keeps me, non-biased. But if there's like tomorrow, most likely we have a lowest low, at least thus far for the month, here on the 3rd. So we should see a sharp drop, probably from peaks early in the day into a lowest low thus far. And likely there's a speaker at this time. Whatever they're speaking on should not be relied upon or trusted, i.e. whatever the market reaction is, you probably want to just like bet on the opposite of that. And we'll look at that in more detail as we progress. And then there's also the halting of a bullish trend marked by a sharp decline through key support at least once throughout the month. So that's on a multi-day scale. That's another thing if you're new to the channel, guys. Everything that I talk about is going to be on like a multi-day scale, i.e. like a 1-month chart with 1-day candlesticks. It'll be on that scale unless otherwise specified. All right, let's get into it. So obviously we had the first off, and we opened higher, which was expected. It was the highest high thus far, first thing in the morning, and a rally that turns over, marking trade opportunity for a day trade. There, you close out of a long, open up open up a short in the midst of that fake breakout early in the day, and then close the short at the end of the day. Or you could hold it into tomorrow. Likely, if we open higher tomorrow, I would say that's opportunity to open up a short again. Most likely like a sharp drop off of a peak into a lowest low. And then out of that lowest low there towards the end of the day on the 3rd, we should have a rally increasing with momentum moving forward in time, taking us into a peak probably the beginning of the day on the 7th, likely highlighting the upper end of a range, at least momentarily there, probably roughly the same price that we fell from on the 2nd. Let me see. Oh, and another thing I should point out before I continue with the sequence of events is that the highest high and the lowest low for the month of January should be within close time proximity to each other. Sometimes that means you go straight from one to the other. Sometimes it means they're within like a week's time of each other. We'll look at that in more detail. Usually closer than a week's time. So notable decline from the upper end of a range early in the day on the 7th. We're bound by a multi-day range, and we should see a prominent peak and a prominent trough take place on the 7th. Out of a decline on the somewhere between the 7th and the 8th, we have this unexpected move to the upside, taking us back to a peak at key resistance on a multi-day scale there on the 9th, probably before midday. And when you see the Princess of Swords, usually what it's indicating is a resistance level that we decline from and then return to in the not too distant future. It's usually a pretty reliable trade indicator. So whatever this resistance is here on the 9th early in the day, most likely when we're declining from it, you could open up long with the expectation to close out of those long positions when we revisit roughly that resistance. Most likely we do it on the 10th with this pop and drop. If not, then very likely we do it on the 14th, 15th. There's a prominent, probably a prominent peak and a prominent trough there on the 11th. More likely to be a prominent trough than a peak. If the prominent peak isn't on the 13th, it'll be on the 14th. But either way, we should do some sideways rotation on the 13th. And in that period of sideways rotation, we should have a sharp drop that'll stand out, bringing us to a resistance level that we recently met once before. That was a past opportunity. I'm so sorry for the lack of editing, guys. We just don't have the time. Just too much demand. So sideways rotation, sharp drop. And then on the 14th, a notable move to the upside into a peak midday, offering opportunity to close along, open up a short. I would say it's a good opportunity to open up a short midday. And then there's an important price level. So we probably turn around on the 14th and head south on the 14th. On the 15th, there's an important technical price level on a one-year chart scale that's highlighted. Usually it's resistance, but not always. And it could be that this is a trough here. This would be close to a lowest low at the end of the day on the 15th. But it's not marked off as so because it's not crystal clear. So this little tidbit of info. It's not something that you want to bet money on. It's not clear enough. But there's a chance that there's a low here at the end of the day. That could be the technical price level. Either way, there's a prominent trough around the cusp of the 14th, more likely the 15th. And we do some flat behavior at a key resistance on a multi-day scale on the 16th. And then a notable decline with a sharp drop on the 17th, unicursal hexagram drop, marking opportunity. Most likely that's where our lowest low for the month is to take place on the 17th. There is an alternate, so stay tuned for the alternate, but this is most likely the location of the lowest low here on the 17th. And that would mean that significant opportunity in the midst of that sharp unicursal decline into a lowest low, probably early in the day. Mark opportunity to open up to close the shorts from the 14th and open up a long position. Most likely to close that long position on the 23rd. So the 20th, I believe that's Martin Luther King Day. God, I'm not editing, so please excuse my ignorance if it's not. And correct me in the comments, please. On the 21st, we have near overbought crest that we sell off from through multiple support levels. There should be some pretty notable price swings on a one-day chart there taking place on the 21st. On the 22nd, sideways rotation along key support. On the 23rd, and a resistance level important on at least a 1 month chart, like at least on a 1 month chart, probably on a 1 year chart scale, but a resistance that we decline from and we should return to it in the not too distant future. similar to the Princess of Swords. And it could be that those are the same price level. Let's see. There's a strong possibility that those are the same price levels. However, the alternate on the lowest low is that we have a lowest low somewhere around the 27th, 28th. That would be the alternate. If I'm wrong about a lowest low here on the 17th, then very, very likely that would be where it is, somewhere around the 27th, 28th. But unlikely. It's just an alternate. Either way, if this is a lower resistance than here, there's much more likely possible that will be a low slow. But I really don't think so. And so from that resistance, we decline and then probably return to it on the same day. Either way, there's a decline into a prominent trough on a 1 month scale taking place on the 24th. That decline increases with momentum moving forward into the trough or significant low. And then on the 27th, we have another prominent trough. We rally to key resistance and then turn around and decline back down from that resistance, probably through the point at which we started the rally into the resistance. It might even the decline might even continue into a trough towards the end of the day on the 28th, out of which there should be a notable move to the upside. And then we have a U-shaped dip taking place on the 29th. Sideways rotation on the 30th with a fast sudden move higher ending that sideways rotation. And then a prominent move higher through key resistance on the 31st, followed by a full retracement and move back down through that same price level shortly thereafter. It looks like we likely have a lower price level at some point in February. And it looks like there's a notable move to the upside out of that trough or low, or out of that. It could be like out of oversold territory, like a short squeeze, or it could be like a gap up, probably like a big move out of oversold territory, indicating that there was likely to be a lot of decline here in January and or in February. And we'll look at that obviously when we get more into the February reading. But what I would look to do, the clearest trades, guys. Hopefully people are following along with the dailies. But tomorrow you could use that as an opportunity. If we're at a lowest low after a sharp drop on a multi-day scale, open up a long, close that long on the cusp of the 6th, 7th. I would say when we revisit the resistance that we falsely broke through here early in the day on the 2nd. If you miss that opportunity, you probably have another opportunity to close out on the 9th at roughly the same price level. And then this is a bit unclear. So like I said, from that resistance, when we identify that resistance, which we would do on the live streams, or if you comment, or if you're on the Discord, which I'll show you again how to get at the end of this video, I would say anything below that resistance, opening up longs is eventually going to lead to profitability, unless you have too short of an expiration on options or something like that. Don't be silly, so you would likely be able to close out of those longs on the 10th, if not the 10th, on the 14th. But more clear is on the 14th, in the midst of a rally into a prominent peak midday on the 14th. You open up a short position, close that short position on the 17th. The resistance on the 23rd, when we identify it, we would want to open up long positions in the midst of the decline out of it. And I would say probably would wait until. I would look for a sharp drop on a multi-day scale on the 24th into a prominent trough on a 1 month scale, and then I would open up a partial long. And I would add to that long if we see the same low or a lower one on the 27th, 28th, with the intent to close out of that long on the 30th, 31st. You could also, rather than buying longs in the decline out of that resistance, if the resistance ends up being the same as the 9th, it'll be pretty obvious if it is. I would say when we hit that resistance, that would be a good place to open up a short. And you would close that short same day, next day on the 24th, or maybe more likely early in the day on the 27th. And if you're interested in the review, I forgot to do the review, so I'll do it now. If you guys are interested in the review of December, we're going to go through that now. Stay tuned. After that, I'm going to show you guys how to get the early access subscription, which gives you access to all of the trades that we see. It gives you the earliest access you can get for all of our public trades. It gives you the Discord live trade alerts on Discord for SPY, and the live updated TradingView chart links as well. All of that as part of the early access subscription. Super game-changing services, guys. Our retention on subscriptions, I mean, not that it was bad, but like it just like exploded to the upside when we added these services because they're so valuable. So we had a lowest low thus far on the first, or the second, I should say, right? As expected, highest high on the thus far on the fourth. That's pretty solid. Highest high on the sixth. Thus far, we had that. And then I expected the highest high period to be here on the 16th. And it looks like we came close, but not quite. However, we did have a lowest low thus far here on the 10th as well. Actually, I expected the lowest low there on the 10th. Anybody following the Discord or the live streams knows that when we got there, I recalibrated my expectations and was expecting a lowest low somewhere around the 19th to the 23rd, and then maybe a revisiting on the 27th. And it looks like that really did come to fruition. So the alternate came to fruition. Either way, even without the alternate path, sharp decline on the 18th into the 19th. Sharp decline on the 18th into the 19th. On the 20th, opportunity. If you waited until the 23rd, still opportunity to open up along. You would have closed out of that the very next day, or maybe you would be holding it. That last trade probably would have been a failed trade, but the other trades were all seriously profitable. So, hey, we're not going to get them right all the time. It's important to understand that and not trade like we're always going to be right, because that would just be foolish and silly. All right, guys, so that's SPY for January 2025. Let me know what you think by hitting that like button. And stay tuned. Let me show you how to get that early access subscription. So you go to our website, tarotfortraders.com, which is very likely stockmarketpsychic.com. Either way, we'll have a redirect when it becomes that. You hover over predictions. You hover over to order now. Click on subscriptions. And the early access subscription, subscribe. Like I said, early access to all public readings, early access to the S&P 500 readings, S&P 500 Discord trade alerts, and the live updated trading view charts. All of that stuff, part of the early access. I will say, just a reminder, guys, we're not going to be doing dailies in the month for the month of February. So that'll pick back up when we start doing March dailies. Even with that said, you still have access to the Discord, to all of the trade advice and guidance in real time. $60 a month, $600 for the year. Great way to support the channel. Much love and appreciation to everybody that does that. Blessings to all my angel investors. You know where to go, right here to the resources tab. 5% of all profits donated forward to one of these charities. Bless your souls. 5% of all profits back to the channel through one of these links. Much love. Thank you so much. Much love and appreciation. And that leaves you at 90%. Make sure to spend that 90% out of love. As long as you follow those rules, the universe considers you an angel investor of the channel. It's going to send it back to you tenfold for following through. Blessings to all my angel investors. I'll see you guys on the next one.